Dave Roberts says he's encouraged by Tony Gonsolin's MRI results. Known cheater Josh Reddick accuses the Dodgers of breaking the rules. And among a survey of NFL executives, how good are the Rams? Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos. It's September 3rd, 2022. Today is the day where men from sea to shining sea are forced to balance their love of football between not having a pissed off wife drag them to divorce court. Stay strong, my kings. Stay strong. If you like the content we've been putting out about LA sports, though, don't forget to clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we have new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. By all means, comments. I get it. Not everything I say is perfect. So before we go through the news and notes around LA, we take a quick look at the scoreboard. It was not the Dodgers' night. It was definitely not Dustin May's night. Look, the guy had Tommy John surgery. It's rebuilding the elbow. It's not just going to be from having your elbow rebuilt to just being indestructible, right? So he gets killed. The Dodgers get killed. Padres win 7-1. The Dodgers are on a 3-game losing streak, which is a little bit of a concern, but they still have a 17-game lead in the West, which means I'm not concerned. Do you see what I'm saying? So when Manny Machado dances around the base paths like he's like he's going to score with every woman in Southern California thinking he's a badass, don't heed him, no, never mind. It don't matter. As for today, by the way, the Padres are going to play the Dodgers again at 6. That's Julio Urias, 14-7. Sean Manaea is 7-7. Bowling Green is going to take on UCLA at 11:30 this morning. We have a preview of the match. That's on a UCLA playlist on the channel. And of course, at 3 o'clock this afternoon, it's Lincoln Riley's debut against Rice. We also have a preview of that. Look at the USC playlist. Dave Roberts said Tony Gonsolin's MRI results are quote-unquote encouraging, and that Gonsolin is going to resume playing catch today. You can make an argument that Gonsolin is the Dodgers' best pitcher. I'm not necessarily sure he's out of the woods, but again, just because I work in healthcare, I'm not a doctor, I wouldn't even be legally allowed to diagnose anybody. So, the proof is going to be in the pudding. He's had a terrific year. Gotta hope for the best. Longtime Dodger nemesis, Josh Reddick. He played for the Dodgers briefly. He was part of a trade with the Oakland A's a few years ago that also brought in Rich Hill. So he's a former LA outfielder, but he was also an integral part of that Houston Astros cheating scandal that cost the Dodgers a legit shot, at the World Championship a few years ago. Josh Reddick is now accusing the Dodgers of cheating as well. Now, former Dodger Scott Van Slyke, who was on the team with Reddick, flatly denied the accusation. When people have asked Reddick for proof, he said, quote, "I was there, so there's my proof." That's not enough. You're going to have me say that I'm going to take the word of a known cheater as proof that somebody else is cheating? No evidence whatsoever? Doesn't describe how the Dodgers allegedly cheated? No. He's just going to, no. Forget it. You can wipe your behinds with Josh Reddick and his mullet and his accusations. It doesn't mean squat. That's not proof. So I hope he enjoys collecting his last check from the Savannah Bananas. Because he can't even make it to the majors anymore. He can't even play in Korea. He's so bad now. Enjoy playing for the Harlem Globetrotters of minor league baseball, pal. Good job. Meanwhile, relief pitcher Blake Trinan was activated to the Dodgers after missing more than 4 months with shoulder inflammation. This is important for LA. Trinan last year was the boogeyman to opponents. He would always pitch the 7th and 8th as an ideal setup man for Kenley Jansen. He had 107 strikeouts in 98 innings. Absolutely elite. Now, as a result of Trinan being promoted, Jake Reed, who earned his first career save versus the Mets earlier this week, he was designated for assignment. It is what it is. Yesterday, we talked about what NFL execs thought of the AFC and where do the Chargers rank in the AFC. So they went, and Athletic went back, and they asked, okay, so what about the Rams? They ranked all the NFC teams from 1 through 16. Your defending champion Rams, number 1. LA has the 3rd best record in the league, by the way, since Sean McVay was hired. The only 2 teams with a better winning percentage, Kansas City and New Orleans. Most executives slotted the Rams at number 1 and didn't even bother to comment. They thought it was just a fait accompli. One, however, did. The upshot with the Rams, according to the guy who did comment, is 1, on offense, they have all the playmakers they need. And regarding their defense, yeah, there's some age on the defense, but you never hear about them getting injured. You don't hear about Aaron Donald getting injured. You don't hear about Bobby Wagner getting injured. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why they're extremely confident that the Rams are the best team in the NFC. Speaking of Bobby Wagner, he came over from Seattle in the offseason. He has already been named a captain. The Rams, by the way, have 6. Also, new offensive coordinator Liam Cohen told ESPN he wants to be the next Ram assistant to parlay working with the Rams into a head coaching gig. Now look, I realize that there's no snow in Southern California, but I think you're really way out over your skis on this prediction, okay? I'm not saying that you suck. You haven't been coordinator for a single regular season game yet. I realize Sean McVay has now a coaching tree. I realize that the coach of the Bengals was part of the Rams. I realize that the coach of the Vikings was part of the Rams. I recognize that Sean McVay can lead people into head coaching gigs. Can we see some results first, please? And besides that, you're an offensive coordinator. Sean McVay calls the plays. Offensive coordinator with the Rams is not exactly meaning that you're better than Sean McVay. Chill your jets just a touch. The dismantling of the Utah Jazz continues. Multiple reports, including USA Today, say that the Lakers want to take advantage of this fire sale over at Salt Lake City. There are multiple players that the Jazz are probably looking to get rid of as they go through this complete rebuild. The most likely one that the Lakers are allegedly interested in, according to these national basketball writers from USA Today, etc., Bojan Bogdanovic. I can't believe I mispronounced his name. That's on my bad. Bojan Bogdanovic. There are other ones that are out there that they'd like to get rid of. Mike Conley, Malik Beverley, and Jordan Clarkson. But the reason that the Lakers theoretically would want Bogdanovic over the 4 is the guy's on an expiring contract. And they want to have as much much cap space as possible for next year's free agency, period. They've traded for Patrick Beverley. We already knew this. So does Patrick Beverley start with the Lakers? I would say no, actually. Not yet, especially if Russell Westbrook stays with the team. Why? Because LeBron James is a ball handler, as is Russell Westbrook, as is Patrick Beverley. At some point, you got to have somebody who does something more than create plays. And Patrick Beverley, of the 3 ball handlers, he doesn't have the creativity of a LeBron or a Westbrook. In addition to that, you would say, well, if you had all 3 of them on the court at once, the Lakers would be playing, quote unquote, too small, as they like to say. So what would that mean? That would mean in order for Beverley to be a starter, he would have to compete with Austin Reeves. Now, Reeves, who is in the second year, has been working out like a madman off season. Because as rookie year went on, his productivity started to wane. He was getting tired. If Reeves can keep up the energy, it's going to be Reeves in the starting lineup, I would imagine. Now, having said that, if Russell Westbrook goes, all bets are off about Patrick Beverley and whether or not he's a starter. But I'm just saying, as the roster is currently constructed, Beverley's probably coming off the bench. We mentioned earlier about USC's football preview on a separate channel. However, there is a glaring swap, a change in the depth chart for the Trojans' defense. Safety Xavier Alford, formerly a 4-star recruit in 2020, has been demoted, not to second string, but to third. So, Kalen Bullock is your starter, along with Anthony Beavers. Just keep that in mind. After all, we don't know necessarily what is going to be the result with a new defensive coordinator in Alex Grinch, but we definitely know that there's at least one change in the starting lineup. Speaking of defense, if you have a chance to read the LA Times this morning, they profiled both defensive coordinators, the one from USC and the one from UCLA. Now, they don't go into a lot of X's and O's. Like, I love going into X's and O's. But what they do is in these profiles, they are showing how these men have different approaches to building a defense. Mental outlook, approach, stuff like that. And this matters because we know that the Trojans and the Bruins are going to put up a lot of points. It's the team that limits the opposition from putting up with a lot of points. That's going to wind up making the difference for either one of them this year. And I'm glad I got this thing out before kickoff. If you enjoyed this clip, don't forget to like and subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We are trying to build something for LA sports. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.